Well, every year for the past 17 years, we've had children in Guatemala that want to go to school. And we've been helping those children attend school in Sayache, Guatemala. In 1999, there was, I think it was 14 of us that went to Guatemala. Roger Marriott stood up to the congregation. He had been going to the Mexican border, and he said, we'd like to go somewhere different. And he mentioned Guatemala. And Kim and I were sitting in the congregation, we were sitting there, and I turned to Kim and I said, Guatemala, let's go. And she couldn't believe I wanted to do this. In the 90s, I was going to another church, and I remember one Saturday afternoon, I didn't have anything to do, and I had the TV on, and I had it on the PBS station, you know, public broadcasting station. And there was this documentary. And the documentary is about these kids living in a dump in Guatemala City. And it was about these families that actually lived in the dump. They scavenged in the dump to provide a living for themselves. And then there was this young American girl that had gone there and with her own money had rented a warehouse, and she was going to get the kids that lived in the dump and bring them to the warehouse and teach them something and provide a meal for them. And then she would take them back. I couldn't believe this. First of all, I couldn't believe that kids lived in a dump, that families lived in a dump. And the second thing is I couldn't believe a young woman like this, had gone there and was trying to do something about this. So when Roger Marriott said, Guatemala, to the congregation, we want to go someplace like Guatemala, my first thing was, Kim, let's go. Because I wanted to go see where Carrie had set up her mission. I wanted to go to the dump and see, actually for myself, that these kids were living in a dump. You know, I've been going there now for 18 years. I've never gone to the dump. Anyway, we were supposed to go down there, and we were going to go to some, I think it was a Presbyterian convention-like place. Anyway, it was on the Pacific coast. That's where we were going to go. Well, what happened was, in a short time, this hurricane hit Guatemala. It was Hurricane Mitch, and it hit in the Petén region near Sayache. So this missionary that was in Guatemala contacted Roger and said that he had a new presbytery and would really like to have some visitors. And so we elected to do that. We had no idea where we were going. With faith, we got on a plane and we went down there, and we were introduced to the Presbyterio Quechua Mayas Sayache. These were poor, subsistent farmers that had very little education, and they told us that their dream was to educate their children. Well, they had been given a piece of property, and this piece of property had the foundation of a building on it. Their idea was in Sayache, they were going to build a school. What happened was, for about 3 years, we worked on this building. And so what they did, we completed the building, and our first kids went to school 3 years after we met this group of men. Well, at that point, what happened is that there were the first students, there were 12 students. And these 12 students came into Sayache from their villages, and they attended schools in Sayache. So we didn't hire any teachers, we didn't build a school. It actually became a dormitory. We actually hired a cook that cooked for the students. It was a husband and wife team, and also provided security for the children. Because these are Mayan children, Quechua, and they are not very high on the social status in Guatemala. In that third year, we had a grand celebration. It was the opening of the center. The first kids are going to school. They cooked up this huge meal. All of these families came in from these 6 villages, so they're traveling 45 minutes by car, but they don't have cars. So they're all coming in, and we had this fantastic celebration to honor these kids that are going to school. This year we have 37 kids going to school. The school year begins in January and ends in November. So we have a new school year coming up. Our Quechua friends will be submitting a budget proposal with the number of kids that they would like to go to school in 2020. The tuition cost to support the kids is between $500 and $700 per student. So an education can be a huge boost to not only that child, but the child's family. Because if a child can get a job, they can help provide for their family. And we're talking about people that are living on $4 to $8 per day. I really am grateful, and the Quechua are grateful for the assistance that Hillsborough Presbyterian Church has given them over the years. We've had a lot of kids that have been able to graduate from high school because of your contributions.